Hey family, we're in a somber mood today as you can see. The king and I are saddened because yes, it's been going on, but I don't know, for some reason this particular video that we ran across on Instagram about this young brother who's a gang member, he was being sentenced to life plus 100 plus years. And it just made me so sad because I just thought about what you went through, babe.
Josiah Hewley.
Mark, can you see?
I can't see him. Mr. Hewley, count 1, felony murder. I sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. Count 2, violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 1. Count 3, violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 2. Count 10, hijacking a motor vehicle. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 3. Count 11, violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 10. Count 12, violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 11. Count 13, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. I sentence you to 5 years consecutive to count 12. Count 14, violation of Street Gang Terrorism Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 13. Count 15, violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 14. Mr. Hewley, you have now been convicted of 15 felonies, 6 of which either merge or vacate as an operation of law, so you'll be sentenced on 9 felonies. I need to inform you that you have the right to seek post-judgment relief from your felony convictions by either filing a direct appeal to a higher appellate court or to file a motion for new trial. You have 30 days from the date I sign and file your sentence with the clerk, which should be tomorrow, to file a motion for new trial to any or all of the felony charges. Ms. Drake, will you be filing a motion for new trial?
Yes, ma'am, and I did explain to my client why my appointment could not, or should not continue on this case, and I would ask the court to appoint him appellate counsel.
Right. Mr. Hewley, as Ms. Drake has probably explained to you, your appellate counsel will review everything, including Ms. Drake's representation of you, to make sure that all your appellate rights are pursued. You also have 4 years from the date your sentence is final with this court, which should be tomorrow, to file a habeas corpus. I will appoint an appellate attorney who will be in contact with you and explain all these procedures to you. You just need to know the time frame, and Ms. Drake is going to file the appropriate motion so that the 30 days does not run.
When you was that brother standing in the court 28 years ago, getting handed down 5 life sentences, how did you feel about that in that moment?
It was the worst moment in my life. You know, I could understand possibly being given 1 life sentence because I only got 1 life to live, but they gave me 5. You know, and when you get life sentences or any sentence that's consecutive, you know, you can overturn one, but you can't overturn the other. So even though I tried my best to look strong, I felt the weight of the world on me at that moment. You know, because I knew that I was up against a system that I couldn't win against. You know, I mean, it was the federal system. And the federal system, they got the deck stacked against you, totally. You know, everybody's on the same team. The judge, the jury, the attorneys, the prosecutors, law enforcement. Because, you know, when once they perceive you as being the bad guy, they're gonna use all their resources, all the king horses and all the king men. I'm gonna knock you off your throne, or make you realize that no matter who you are in society to other people, you're nothing to them. You know, you're a statistic. So it was a real sad moment in my life.
And I know that it had to even hurt even more because you were standing there as an innocent man for those charges. However, it's the long hand, or how we say, the long arm of the law. If they can't get you for one thing, they're going to get you for another. But in this young guy's case, I don't know. Let me do a disclaimer too. I don't know what the guy was in there before other than murder, because they did say that that he was being charged. That was the initial life sentence. And then they gave, they called it gang terrorism.
Right.
So different counts with gang terrorism. But I don't know what his situation was. I don't know him. I don't even know if he's a guy out of New York or down south. But it touched me just to see another young black man standing in the courtroom getting his life destroyed. Whatever he did, obviously he has to face the consequences. That's just the bottom line. I was a hustler in my life. I had to face the consequences. You know what I'm saying? You did so much in your life, and then you had to face consequences. Although the one time in your life you was innocent, it's still, you had to face the consequences, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just like, I wanted you to speak to this situation, because I know a lot of guys that are in the gangs can relate and look up to somebody that's been in their situation. But tell them the reason why you really didn't even want to do this. And I had to respect that because it made a lot of sense.
Well, the reason why I didn't want to do it was because, you know, when it comes to gangs, gang members, they got a certain protocol. And they in-house. You know, they do their thing. And if you're not a gang member, you really don't have no business being involved in a business. So that was one of the reasons why I never really liked to elaborate on the gang thing. But when I was incarcerated doing victims impact, we did have a module which was, you know, gang awareness, and we taught guys different things pertaining to the gang lifestyle. We had, though, individuals who were members of gangs who played the part in aiding and assisting us to deliver the message to the guys who were banging, so that they would understand what they were up against, so that they would realize the damage that their lifestyle was doing to our communities, so that they could recognize the fact that many times you become involved in different sets because of fear, because of you doubting yourself, because you know you have friends that you just want to do what your man is doing, or just because you're from a neighborhood that you feel like you got to protect. And those are really normal things for human beings. But one of the things that they don't understand is that there are laws that are constructed and designed, which are laws that are conspiracy laws. And when a person is a member of a gang, you could be at a movie theater with your girlfriend, your wife, or a young lady with her husband or her boyfriend. and she could get charged or he could get charged with every count that the individual who committed the crime in another state. They got laws that are designed now for gang members that put them in the same category as being terrorists. So, just like the RICO was designed for the Italians at one time, because they had such a intricate,
Organized,
structured thing that they had to come up with laws to figure out how to connect these guys, arrest these guys, and convict these guys. And with this gang thing, I think that a lot of the guys who are in gangs need to look at what terrorism is. Because if you're a guy that's out in the street and you're committing robberies, or you're out there fighting and doing things, or you carrying pistols, or you selling drugs,
or shooting
you shooting,
and terrorizing neighborhoods.
but it's not terrorism in their eyes.
In the
What
gang's
they-
eyes.
Yeah, what they feel that they're doing is they earning and gaining respect. They're protecting their territory. That they doing was necessary, because many of these guys they grow up without dads in the household, and sometimes having something on paper or people explaining to you something that's designed with some structure could make you feel like this could make up for the loss of your father.
But I'm sorry to interrupt you. Why do they feel the need that they have to do this on public streets with his kids and mothers and children walking and grandmothers and just regular civilians? Because back in the days, it was a lot of gunplay, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't on Myrtle Avenue. Like, it was inside the projects, like, more so. And it was more direct for the ops. You understand what I'm saying? I don't get this wild, wild west concept that they do. And I think that is one of the reasons why they creating laws and calling them terrorists now, because they're terrorizing neighborhoods. And I think that's the mistake. Not that the whole thing is a mistake. I mean, hands down, we already know that. But if you got to do something, I think that they should be more direct and stop putting other civilians in jeopardy. That's just my feeling about it. You know what I mean? But I get it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely get what you're saying and how they think. But I want them to think out the box now. Or they're going to be thinking while they're standing inside of a courtroom while a judge is handing them down a life sentence upon a life sentence upon a life sentence. So they got to start thinking about consequences now. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I think that what you said is right. Unfortunately, I blame it on the guys who probably were their dads. You know, a lot of times from structure comes disorganization, just like from disorganization comes structure. So the guys that were out in the street committing the crimes, you know, which might seem was the correct way to do it, the guys that was watching them, they really didn't understand exactly what was being done. All they knew is they heard gunshots, there was violence, and there was a body left. But instead of them doing it like these guys did it, they end up doing the same thing when it came to harming another human being, but they didn't take anything around them into consideration. And that's the painful thing, because a lot of these young men are about to be tried and convicted for crimes that they probably did, other crimes that they had nothing to do with. They're going to be charged with laws that they don't even know exist. I was listening to something, and the president was speaking about the violence and the gangs And he said that because other countries could utilize our country as a place to pit their unwanted individuals who commit criminal acts and violence. Now he's going to resource. He's going to start finding countries that owe them, and start pitting individuals from the United States and other countries and other territories. And
individuals like the gang guys. So they have to consider this. You're not going to be, if you think you can't get a visit now and you're right downtown at MDC, imagine trying to get a visit in Guatemala, Guantanamo Bay. And what country is that in? Because they're going to start making them different countries. Because he said he's shipping them out of the U.S. So you're not getting no visits. You're going to die on
Cuba, I believe it was Guantanamo was.
Okay, well, wherever. A desolate island out of this country. And you're not going to see your family members. You're not going to be able to make phone calls. You're going to be in prison, and you're going to decay and rot and die in another country. That's the man said it. He's not bluffing, obviously. You know what I mean?
And they'll be in institutions and facilities with urination, feces, food filled with maggots, fighting over a piece of bread.
Yeah. There's no, the mattresses on the floor, if you get a mattress. I don't even know if they're called mattresses. It's like pallets.
Yeah.
You're sleeping on the floor. And I had a homegirl that was in Jamaica. She did a bit in Jamaica, and it was a nightmare. And she explained to me the whole system out there. You can't even eat real food unless your people bring it to you.
That's right.
And you don't got no people if you're from the U.S. So these young kids got to start waking up. I get it. The gang, whatever the reason is, the brotherhood, the family, the sisterhood as well, because there's young girls, and I'm talking to the girls that's in these gangs. You don't want to do it. You cannot, like everything that y'all going through right now is going to be 30 times worse when you in prison for the rest of your life in another country or even here. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, this is a PSA right now at this point. You know what I mean? Because I get why you wanted to respect the sanctuary of that whole institution, that gang institution, because you're not from that era where, y'all was doing things in gang. It was basically you was a solo player. But it just hurts so bad to see what's happening. Yeah. These young guys just from Brooklyn just got 129 indictment. I don't even know what the name of the gang is. They all like the same. But I also want to add this, and this is just my personal theory of why they do this Wild Wild West thing, is because this generation, they all grew up playing those violent video games. And in the video games, they're walking through the towns, shooting, boop, 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 boop. They're in different, different levels, and every level is people walking through the streets, simulating, real people, and they got to shoot around them to their ops. And it was born. That idea, that concept was born from video games, from these violent video games. So the system knew that this was going to happen. They knew these kids were going to watch these games, play these games. They're going to make money off of them playing the games. And eventually it's going to it's going to come from virtual into reality. And that's just what's happening. Then they're going to make more money off of them going into prison. And, it's just a recurring cycle. You know what I mean? To be in the future, technology is happening so fast. You never know, what's the next thing besides video games. You know what I'm saying? It might just be The Purge. Right. The movies are predicting what's going to happen. It might be really, literally, the type of government that is in place. We might be facing The Purge. You get what I'm saying? I know I'm going off the rails. However, that's how serious this is. And I just hope that if only 100 people, 100 gang guys, listen and see this video, if only 100 could say, yo, if King Tut, that just came home after doing 28 years and by the grace of God, got his 5 life sentences overturned, because that's not going to happen for everybody. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? Only reason that happened is because you're an innocent man. And God knows that you were in there for something you didn't do. That's the only reason I believe in my heart that judge showed you compassion. Now, if they can see this video and just say for a moment, okay, whatever I got to do to get up out of this, let me get out of it. They beat me to get in. How about beat me out of it and let me go and live a normal life, because it's no way out but death or jail. You can listen, you can, get something from this, or you can do what you do and just be like the guy standing in the video that we're about to show you. And he's being tough. Guy is being a soldier to the very end, because my black ass would have been crying and would have fainted in that courtroom. But he's tough. He's standing there and listening to every count that judge throw at him until the video ended. Still, it was going on. We don't know what happened at the end. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, and we watched that judge. I counted a life sentence without the possibility of parole with 125 years. And where it stopped at, like she said, there was more time that the judge was given, but ours ended there. So you better start taking into consideration. And yo, short, like when they say short term and long term, listen, your life is in jeopardy. If you are out in that street and you banging, know that they've constructed laws that are designed to take you down and everybody connected to you. And yo, I mean directly connected and inadvertently connected. They'll make the connection. Remember, it's you up against the United States of America. And if you came up in this country, you probably think that the laws aren't hard, or they're not harsh, or you could get over, under, around them, or that you're a lucky guy. All that run out. I need you to know that when it comes to making examples, you're going to be the next one. And I'm talking to everybody that's involved in those type of activities. No one is excluded. You're going to have to shape it up. And I know your community might seem like they backing you up, but all it is they're fearful of you. When those people come down on you, every taxpayer is going to tell what you've been doing. A lot of people who you consider your friends are going to flip on you. You're going to be in the cell by yourself or with another individual. And the only thing you're going to think about is, why did I not stop and think? You want to think about everything that you should have thought about before they cuffed you. Take it from me. You better than bars. You better than barbed wire. You better than that cement. You better than towers with gunmen on them. You better than wars. You better than 15-minute phone calls. You better than just a visit and having to go through the search now. You're so much better than that. I'm just asking y'all, man, to consider what you truly want to be in life. Because they got a place for you if you're going to be out in them streets acting like a wild animal. They got a place for you if you could care less about the rights of other human beings they got a place for you. If you out there violating and putting those taxpayers in danger. So please, understand that the only time your life has meaning is when you cherish other people's lives. But if you're not taking anybody else's life into consideration, no one's going to take yours into consideration either. I looked at that young man being sentenced to that time, and it broke my heart. Because I knew what he was thinking. I don't care how solid he seemed. I knew what he was thinking. That if he can go back, he would have chose a different lifestyle, a different occupation, different friends, different places, different things. It's too late for him, but it's not too late for you. Consider your life and take into consideration everybody who care about you.
Rest in peace to that young man. I pray that maybe one day some law can help him beat a few of those 20-year sentences and he can get out on parole some kind of way. I pray that for him. It does seem very dire, but rest in peace. Do his time in peace. And to all the young brothers that's doing time right now, I hope y'all can get out. I hope y'all can fight your case, beat your case. But if you're watching this and you're still free, I hope you take this into consideration, or we will be saying rest in peace to you as well. Peace and love, family.
Bebo. Bebo.